Let's talk a little bit about school visits, because I'm very curious about how you mentioned that you've had better luck organizing school visits now that you've got a traditional publisher behind you versus back when you were indie, which strikes me as absurd because you're the same guy. So what tips do you have for setting up school visits and for getting as many as you can? And then beyond that, what do you have for tips for having a successful school visit?
Sure. So I should preface this by saying that I'm not an expert in this area, that I haven't done a ton of school visits. But like we talked about at the beginning, I have done work, spoken to kids for about 10 years. And I do feel like I'm pretty good at that. I feel like I'm really good at that. That's one of the things that I really enjoy, that I feel like I'm one of the best at, that I really enjoy. So I got my start I got invited to a conference a couple years in a row in Texas. And it was a bookseller who sells to schools, and he knew about my books. And he probably thought, oh, this kid's available. And so he got me to come down there, and I started doing school visits like that. So that just got me my foot in the door in as far as being able to do it, to talk to kids, and then to get some video and pictures of that and things like that. So that helps, just being able to do a couple, to feel it out and things like that. And then honestly, just this past year, I went through, I made a spreadsheet of every district in my county and in the 3 counties around me, and went to their website and found out if they have like a librarian that covers the whole district or librarians for each school, and then emailed a lot of them. And most of them didn't, just kind of, hey, introducing myself. I'm local, I'm available for school visits. I'd love to send you a copy to look at for your library. Just want to help in any way I can, basically. And so sent out, and just like any cold call, don't get a lot of response from a lot of people, but you do get a response from some people. And is able to set up some school visits that way. And then from those school visits, I just completed one a couple weeks ago, and at the end it went over really well. The kids really enjoyed it, and at the end, just asking for referral. Basically, most people don't like to ask for things, but just go up to the librarian, like, hey, I don't know a lot of librarians in the area. Would love if it was a hit with your kids, that you'd spread my name around a little bit. That would be helpful. And honestly, librarians are librarians because they like helping people. And if you're good, librarians can be your best friend, right? And so she was really kind and went on some listservs for librarians in the state of Ohio, and wrote up a really nice review of it. And I've gotten, just in the last couple of weeks, several things through that. Set up things through that. So so I think, again, promising something and over delivering on that promise. If you can go on and put on a really great school visit, people are willing to help you out and ask for it. So, I've definitely done, several now in my fair share, and I'm setting up more and more for next year. Which is exciting. And so for the school visit, one of the things that I do, and again, you got to figure out what works for you. If you're an author, illustrator, great. Illustration is something that you're good. Now, I for the kids' church, one of the things that I've done over the years is learn some magic, because it gets kids' attention and it gets them to watch it a little bit. So I've used that. I start out. I used to just kind of do it. Now I ask first if I can do it. But I do it. My best trick is I have this piece of paper, crumble it up, light it on fire, throw it to a kid. And then by the time it reaches that kid's hands, it's $1 bill. It's a huge hit. And that is a great way to start a school visit, I found. And so just finding something like that. And then I tie in my talk to magic and things like that, and doing things, basically, if you can do something like playing the piano, to me is magic if somebody can play the piano. But, you can do it by practicing every day. And the same thing for me, being an author, seemed like magic. Like writing a long book like that seemed like a thing that was really hard and was a magical thing. But by being able to discipline myself and do it every day, I'm able to do that. So tying it into that magic thing was helpful to me, having pictures in the back. answering kids' questions. And honestly, if you are at all engaging, like these kids don't know any authors. And so if an author gets up there, they just assume that they're a celebrity. So like it's your, you already start out, really far ahead of the pack. So you just kind of have to not screw up as in an author visit, and it'll go really well, I think.
I love it. Yeah, no, if you weren't amazing, how would they have put your name on a book? Obviously.
Well, there you go.
I'm also enjoying the thought of the conversation with the teacher's internal monologue. He's going to throw a ball of fire at my student.
Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I still don't tell him that I'm going to throw it at the kid. I just tell him like, okay, it's flash paper. It's magician's flash paper. It's very safe. There's going to be a little bit of fire, but it's going to be okay. But just check it with your principal.
And how long is a great school visit while keeping the kids engaged but feeling like they got their their time and in some cases their money's worth? And how do you know if you've been successful at a school visit?
Well, I mean, if you've talked to kids enough, you just know it when they're in tune and when they're engaged, and if they're not and they're elementary school kids, they'll let you know. And so you'll probably know if it's not going well. But generally I think 45 minutes to an hour is really good. If you go and in that, I try to do different things every, 15, 20 minutes or so. And so there's a section where I'm doing that magic section. There's a section where I'm talking about my book specifically. Sometimes I'll read the book and then take questions and answer. I've been asked to do, an hour and a half before. And so in that case, brought an exercise, a writing exercise that has to do with video games. To kind of get them to something else. So kids have, an attention span that's shorter than 45 minutes. So you got to keep things moving and move on to different things. But if you can keep moving on to different things and keep it engaging, you can keep it going pretty long, but you just got to keep that in mind.
Makes sense to me. Fantastic. And I'm assuming that with the school visits, that's while there may or may not be an honorarium involved. I know that can be a little bit up and down depending on the school, depending on how much distance you're traveling to get to the school. But I'm assuming that that's not between your Amazon selling and the books themselves. I'm assuming that the primary motivation to do those school visits is not necessarily the money from the visit itself. Is it just creating those lifelong raving fans to get all corporate on you by chatting with the kids and creating that unique experience? I remember Dustin Brady. He threw flash fire paper at me.
You know what? Honestly, I just love it. I really like doing it. So that's, again, a selfish reason why. But again, the reason, we've talked a lot about selling books and making sales. But honestly, the reason that I write and the reason that I continue to write and that I like writing is that, especially for reluctant readers, is that I get a lot of notes from parents and teachers that, my kid never liked a book before. They would never touch a book before, but he read your book. He loves it. And he's asking for more books from different authors. And this is the book that got him into reading. And just being able to do that on a per book basis is great. And then being able to see that kind of connect with kids in a presentation is really cool to experience. Where I've asked, I'll start out my presentation, how many kids like video games? Every hand goes up. How many kids like reading? And no hands go up. And by the end, they're very into it, and they get feedback later from teachers who said, these kids are going back and reading your books, and they're very excited about it. And so it's kind of that mission part of it too. In addition to, I just really like it, and it's a really, it's a fun rush to be able to stand up there and talk to them for an hour. In addition to that, it is really cool to be able to see kids connect with books in a way that they wouldn't if they hadn't met an author.
We have talked a lot about money and sales because this is a show primarily for other writers and for publishing professionals and people that are really into the nerdy stuff. But I always joke I've got a background in finance and financial consulting. And I never started a conversation about how to plan for your retirement or how to make the most out of your money with first thing you do is write a book. That was never how that conversation opens up.
No.
So obviously there's something far more satisfying. You're an Amazon seller. You could sell, portable CD players and anything else that was going to have a profit margin. This is obviously a passion project and something that